This is Valley View News, and these are today's headlines. A memorial service for Nipsey Hussle is set for Thursday at Staples Center. He leaves a legacy of activism. A sports team in West Hollywood for the LGBTQ community, and
we need to become writers. We need to become directors.
Latino actors take a stand in Hollywood after Oscar winner Roma broke new boundaries.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Esteban Reynoso.
And I'm Natalia Vivino.
A public memorial service for murdered rapper Nipsey Hussle is set for Thursday at Staples Center. He was shot and killed in front of his store in South LA last week. 29-year-old Eric Holder has pleaded not guilty and is being held on a $5 million bond. Valley View News reporter Sandy Chavez has more about the impact Hussle had on his community.
The line wrapped around the block. People waited hours to enter the CSUN Marathon clothing store. This is where rapper Nipsey Hussle was shot to death. LAPD is keeping this area under strict watch. People huddled around and paid their respects. CSUN Plaza is filled with lit candles, flowers, balloons, and pictures of Nipsey. The parking lot wall has writing of condolences. One artist works to finish his tribute to Nipsey.
I'm prolific, so gifted.
Nipsey was more than just music. To many, he was an activist, visionary, and leader. The plaza has what will soon be a seafood store and barbershop. Nipsey wanted them here in his community, next to his clothing store. He believed in reinvesting in the community and the people who raised him.
It's rare that you find somebody that's so passionate about educating, young African American males, but not just that, somebody who can empower you to be a businessman through music.
Nipsey kept South Los Angeles close to his heart, and it showed. A few blocks from CSUN Plaza is 59th Street Elementary. He helped refurbish the school's basketball courts with artist Drew Visuals. Community leaders say they owe him a debt of gratitude.
Show our appreciation for the work he's done in our community.
Los Angeles continues to mourn and celebrate the life of this entrepreneur, leader, and activist. For Valley View News, I'm Sandy Chavez.
Actress Felicity Huffman and 13 other parents pleaded guilty to bribery and fraud in the college admissions scandal. Huffman admitted to paying $15,000 to help her daughter cheat on her SATs. The Desperate Housewives star attended court earlier today in Boston. Huffman released a statement apologizing for her actions and says her daughter knew nothing about the fraud.
Severe weather is hitting parts of the country this week. A tornado in Texas damaged dozens of motorhomes. Hail and strong winds are predicted for Virginia and North Carolina tonight. A rare blizzard will hit the Rockies tomorrow and move east into the northern plains and the Great Lakes.
The NYPD has confirmed remains found in Staten Island to be Janine Camerata. Police say they found Camerata's burnt remains in a storage unit. The 37-year-old's estranged husband, Michael Camerata, and his girlfriend face second-degree murder charges. Camerata was a school teacher and a mother of 3.
Police are trying to find the 2 men who fired shots at a Chicago baby shower on Saturday. 2 children and 4 adults were hurt. Police say the men opened fire into the party and ran away. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel says the shooters have no remorse.
Now 2 kids' lives, even though they're unbelievably resilient, will never be the same.
At least 5 people were murdered and 24 have been shot in Chicago over the weekend.
Governor Newsom is in El Salvador to learn about the poverty and violence causing thousands of people to leave. Newsom says he wants to show Salvadorans another side of the U.S. President Trump recently cut aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. The governor visited the tomb of St. Oscar Romero and plans to meet with the president and president-elect of El Salvador and the U.S. ambassador.
Kirstjen Nielsen has spoken with the press for the first time since resigning as Homeland Security Secretary.
I just want to thank the president again for the tremendous opportunity to serve this country. I'm forever grateful and proud of the men and women of DHS who work so hard every day to execute their missions and to protect the homeland. I really look forward to continuing to support them from the outside.
President Trump announced yesterday Nielsen was resigning. It follows their meeting regarding border crossings. The current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan will become acting secretary. Nielsen will continue her duties until Wednesday.
The Secret Service director is being replaced. Randolph Alice was reportedly told there would be a transition in leadership, but was asked to remain until a replacement was found. President Trump has since picked Secret Service official James Murray to take over.
President Trump designates Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard as a terror organization. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says it will be illegal for any American to provide IRGC members resources.
I am announcing our intent to designate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, including its Quds Force, as a foreign terrorist organization in accordance with Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. This designation will take effect 1 week from today.
The White House says this sends a clear message to Tehran that its support for terrorism has serious consequences.
A woman from Orange County has been found safe after being kidnapped in Uganda. Kimberly Sue Endicott and her guide were on an evening game drive when they were approached by 4 men who took them at gunpoint last week. The kidnappers used her phone to demand $500,000. Former CIA operative Bob Bayer says it's hard to get the government to pay.
The government will not pay ransom. It doesn't want to set that precedent, especially in the Congo, because it will encourage more kidnappings. But there's actually nothing the government can do to stop those payments, especially if it's a gang.
Endicott and the guide were found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Officials say they weren't hurt. The kidnappers haven't been found.
The LGBTQ community's athletic abilities were on full display this weekend. Valley View reporter Thomas De Jesus has more on the story.
Saturdays are busy again in Poinsettia Park. The Varsity Gay League is back in season.
We are the largest LGBTQ recreational sports organization in the West Coast. We're actually a national organization. We are the original recreational sports organization founded in 2007.
Anyone can sign up for the league, alone or with a group of friends. Some say it's the league's friendly atmosphere that makes people want to come back.
It's growing every year, and it's branching out to different states. It's all inclusive. The vibe's pretty positive.
The league isn't only in Los Angeles. Since its creation in 2007, it has expanded nationwide. It wants to give LGBTQs from all over the U.S.
San Diego, San Francisco, Sacramento,
a chance to play a sport they love.
Boston, Buffalo, etc. So it's pretty cool.
The league can be competitive, but winning isn't always the goal for some players. The league is a fun way to expand their social circle. Other players credit the league for helping them make big life choices.
One of my teammates was like, oh, you should do web development instead. And I was like, cool, and kind of changed my career trajectory. So that's been pretty big, aside from just the social aspect of it.
Sports is a powerful tool to use when trying to bring a community together. The Varsity Gay League will continue to use this tool for many more seasons to come. In West Hollywood, I'm Thomas De Jesus, Valley View News.
Hollywood's lack of diversity has taken a toll on Latino actors. Valley View News reporter Cristina Rodriguez says they're now demanding bigger roles in TV and film.
The Oscar-winning film Roma may have started a new era for Latinos in Hollywood. Some Latino actors are taking a stand on the difficulties they face being cast for lead roles. Actress Elizabeth Ruiz explained her experience during an interview at the Los Angeles SAG-AFTRA headquarters.
I've always loved being in front of the camera, but I officially started acting about, I want to say like 5 years ago, when I got my first little gig in an independent film.
Ruiz says it's the perfect time for Latin women to fight for more fulfilling roles in Hollywood. She says the Me Too movement has opened new doors. You can see more of Ruiz in the Netflix series Unsolved.
We need to become writers. We need to become directors. We need to start our own production companies, because if you sit here and expect for somebody to give you a chance, you could wait forever.
I was literally right place, right time. I got approached. Guy said, you want to be in a commercial?
Actor Noel G from Fast and the Furious says if he didn't take a gangster role in 1999, he wouldn't be who he is today. The role led to more work with major stars. They in turn helped him grow into the film director and producer he is now.
Starting to branch out, because I love actors like Tom Hanks, who could play different roles, Joe Pesci, who could play different roles, Denzel Washington.
Noel says he has the best job in the world. He travels as a motivational speaker when not directing or producing.
Take whatever role you can, whether it be big or small. Just because it's a small role doesn't mean that it goes unnoticed.
It has not been an easy road for Latinos in Hollywood. They have struggled to star in big roles, become producers and directors, but they are now making their culture stand out and winning more Oscars. In Hollywood, for Valley View News, Christina Rodriguez.
Well, now Christina joins us on the set for more entertainment news. Loved that story on Latinos in Hollywood. What else do you have for us today?
Thank you, Natalia. Well, Coachella is dealing with a death and a dropout. A 49-year-old crew member fell 60 feet from the stage. Christopher Griffin was pronounced dead on the scene, and singer Solange has backed out of her performance. A recent tweet from Coachella's official account blames production problems. The festival starts Friday. Tickets start at $429. Unlike previous years, there are tickets still available. Shazam made a little over $53 million in the U.S. this weekend. The new movie made double that overseas. Pet Sematari's remake has also been getting good reviews. It made around $25 million. The two movies made Dumbo fall to third and Us fell to fourth. Game of Thrones has come to its final season. The HBO series, known for killing its main characters, returns Sunday night for the first of 6 episodes. That's all for entertainment news. I'm Christina Rodriguez. Back to you, Natalia.
More to come on Valley View News. A rhino poacher was devoured by lions.
And Illinois raises its age for consuming tobacco. Stay with us.
You're on your boat. Your engines are dead. You're starting to sink, and you can't get a cell phone signal. Thankfully, you have a Marine VHF radio on board tuned to Channel 16. The Coast Guard and other boaters monitor distress calls on Channel 16. A radio is the best way to call for help. Don't assume a cell phone will work. Communication is your lifeline. Be sure you're heard.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that? This one? No. Were you texting and driving again? Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
One year after Thunderbird pilot Steven Del Baño died during a training exercise, his family held a fundraiser for a nonprofit they created in his memory. Valley View News reporter Brandon Iriarte has more.
In an emotional day, dozens of people stopped by Vincenzo's Pizza in Saugus. They had pizza and drinks as they raised funds to help young people pursue their flying dreams.
On behalf of our organization and my family, I want to thank you guys for being here and continually supporting a cause that's so close to our hearts.
Crowder heads Cajun Aviation Dream. It held a fundraiser in honor of her brother, Stephen Del Baño. He died in a crash a year ago during a Thunderbird training exercise. The funds will send students to flight school.
We picked the particular aviation camp for 16 to 18-year-olds because that was around the age that Stephen really decided that aviation was going to be his job.
Each year, 2 students will get scholarships for flight school. Jeanette Crowder has words of inspiration for students.
If you lead your life with passion, purpose, persistence, and remain personable, you'll be the best version of yourself.
They plan future fundraising events in their effort to carry on Stephen's memory. For Valley View News, I'm Brandon Uriarte.
CSUN's campus newspaper has been at work on several stories.
For a look into this week's headlines, here's Sundial's reporter Giovanni Botticella.
After 2 days of voting, the Voice You Deserve candidates, Diana Vincente won the presidency and Mohammed Q. Hataki won the vice presidency. Also, all 3 referendums, including the AS fees, health center fees, and IRA fees, all passed. Other stories the Sundial reported involved high school students being unprepared for college as a result of low graduation requirements, online course recovery classes, and incomplete interventions. Back to you at the studio.
Let's hear from Claudia Flores, who has the latest in international news.
Sudan security forces fired tear gas at protesters to break up a demonstration in Khartoum. Protesters are calling for the resignation of President Omar al-Bashir. Officials say 7 protesters have been killed since Saturday. Al-Bashir has been in power for nearly 30 years and is refusing demands for a transitional government. This is the biggest protest against the president since the coup that overthrew the former president in 1985. About 2/3 of women were among those protesting Sudan's patriarchal society. The protest started when the government announced price increases on basic items, including fuel and bread, this past December. Israel is going to the polls tomorrow. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is running for re-election after facing multiple corruption investigations. Netanyahu has received plenty of help from President Trump.
Should have taken place many decades ago.
Netanyahu is trailing former military agent Benny Gantz. Netanyahu has been in office for a decade. He has promised to annex Jewish settlements in the West Bank. Both Israelis and Palestinians have historical ties there. Thousands of Venezuelans have protested against President Nicolás Maduro after weeks of power cuts and limited water access.
Only be fair when we have achieved the cessation of the usurpation, but when we have achieved what matters to our people.
They accuse him of wrecking the economy. The crisis of hyperinflation and food shortage has worsened within the last month. Regions were left without no power for days. Opposition Juan Guaidó called for the rally. Maduro still has the support of Russia, China, and the military. He says Guaidó is a U.S. puppet. A suspected rhino poacher was killed by an elephant and devoured by lions in South Africa. Kruger National Park says a search team was only able to recover a skull and a pair of pants. 2 people were arrested with rifles and ammunition. National Geographic says more than 1,000 rhinos were killed illegally in 2017. Australia's government is investing more than $377 million to protect the Great Barrier Reef. Scientists will use the money to try to protect the largest network of coral reefs from climate change. Studies estimate most of the world's coral will eventually be lost if nothing is done, even if global warming is kept on the low end of 1.5 and 2 degrees. Australia says it wants to be a good governance model for other countries to follow. That's it for international news. Now back to you in the studio.
Now let's get the latest on health with Nick Logan. Nick?
Thank you, Esteban. ConAgra Brands issued a voluntary recall after customers found mold in several 6-ounce cans of Hunt's tomato paste. The company says the items have been damaged after the canning process. The recall affects the no salt added paste and those with an expiration date of October 16, 2020. The FDA says it's trying to make sure the affected products are off the shelves. Fisher-Price has issued a warning to parents who own the company's Rock and Play sleeper. 10 babies have died since 2015. On Friday, the New York company said children older than 3 months or children who are able to roll over should not use the Rock and Play sleeper. Fisher-Price says the product meets international safety standards. The company says parents should always use the provided restraints, put children to bed facing up, and make sure there are no pillows, blankets, or extra padding in the Rock and Play sleeper. Illinois has become the latest state to raise the legal age to buy tobacco from 18 to 21. The Surgeon General says most smokers start as teenagers. Experts say the use of e-cigarettes and vaping has jumped 9 times among high school students. Smokers will be more addicted as adults the younger they are when they start. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he wants more states to raise the smoking age.
This is about the health of our youth and the longevity of our citizens. And if there are young people who will travel over state lines to buy tobacco products because they can legally buy them there, then I urge the surrounding states to pass Tobacco 21 too.
Illinois will join 10 other states that have passed or planning to pass Tobacco 21. London has become the first city in the world to implement a 24/7 ultra-low emission zone. Vehicles need to meet certain emission standards before driving through this area. Vehicles that fail those standards can be charged the equivalent of $16 if they drive through this ultra-low emission zone. The goal is to reduce pollution and protect public health. London looks to expand the zone over the next 2 years. That's all for health news. Back to you.
Coming up on Valley View News, American Airlines cancels hundreds of flights after grounding all 737s.
Also, UK sets strict regulations of Facebook usage. Stay with us.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
The UK is calling on tech giants to make the internet a safer place.
Here's Valley View's Thomas De Jesus with social media, tech, and business.
American Airlines is extending Boeing 737 MAX flight cancellations into June. This is because of the 2 crashes involving Boeing planes in recent months. American says it wants to make sure it's providing better service. It will cancel 90 flights daily through June 5th and provide customers with rebooking options. American is waiting to hear from regulatory authorities before resuming its normal schedule. In the meantime, Boeing is working on upgrading its safety features. Korean Air's former chairman has died. Weeks before Cho Yang-ho died, he was fired from his position as chairman and was on trial for embezzlement and breach of trust. Cho's family is also facing criminal accusations for physical and verbal abuse toward Korean Air staff. Before Cho's death, he made comments about Boeing's safety issue. He said most new aircrafts have problems in the beginning.
I have a full confidence in Boeing that they can fix the issue.
He died in a hospital in LA yesterday. Cho was 70. UK officials are working to make the internet a safer place. They say if tech executives don't remove unlawful or harmful content on their platforms, they'll face charges. Prime Minister Theresa May says more needs to be done to protect young people from harmful content online. Their government plans to pass legislation over the next few months extending to any company, and that includes internet giants Facebook and Google, that allows users to share and create content online. Pinterest says it hopes to raise up to $1.5 billion when it goes public. The San Francisco-based company was originally valued at about $12 billion, but this new offer brings it in about $10.5 billion. Pinterest says it expects to list shares for $15 to $17 on the New York Stock Exchange under PINS. It's one of the 3 big internet companies offering shares to the public this year. Lyft and Uber are the other 2. The murder of 21-year-old Samantha Jofferson has ride-sharing companies defending their safety protocols. South Carolina police say college senior Jofferson called an Uber after a night out, but the car she got into was not an Uber. CSUN student Renee Beltran says drivers should face a tougher certification process.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if they get some sort of like certification from Uber themselves that the passengers can see, maybe they can like put it in their car just to give an extra assurance for the passengers.
Uber driver Paige Shin says he only had to sign an agreement letting the ride-sharing company do a background check. Uber sent a message to its users telling them to always match the license plate, car make, and model before getting in. CSUN student Michelle Munasaro says she feels safe, but sometimes uncomfortable.
It is always awkward, like, I think with me and my friends when we go in, we're like, is this for, like, blah, 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 because, you know, you always do have to check. But for the most part, I think all of the drivers are aware, and it's, like, I know that they put, like, the car model and, like, the color of the car, so that kind of helps sometimes.
Uber and Lyft have been criticized in the past for not vetting their drivers. Some 24 women have reportedly been attacked in rideshare vehicles. The companies say passenger safety is their top priority. That's it for social media, tech, and business. I'm Tom Stassus. Back to you.
Today is National Zoo Day. Today, zoo lovers celebrate the education and awareness brought by zoos around the world. Central Park Zoo was the first zoo ever in the U.S., opening in 1874. The most popular zoo in America is the San Diego Zoo, attracting 3.2 million visitors per year. 175 million people visit one of the nation's 350 zoos every year.
A family of birds is calling the shots at a Sacramento high school. 2 killdeer birds laid eggs on the brand new lacrosse field at San Juan Unified High School. School faculty discovered the birds and closed that portion of the field. The San Juan school superintendent says he knows students are anxious to start using the full field, but it's more important to respect the family of birds. That's all for us at Valley View News. Thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Vivino.
And I'm Esteban Reynoso. For news any time of day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. See you next week.